Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivagatarja Astatarasatasi Simad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavriddhi ki, Gaur Premanandi. We started off with a different schedule, and it's been changed many times. Too many. Just following the flow of circumstances as best we can. So this is a class that wasn't in the original schedule, but it's a topic that when we had something quite similar, it wasn't a Japa retreat, it was a longer stretch of time. We discussed this topic in Chicago during the Festival of the Holy Name. So, Canto 2, Chapter 9, Text 31, Srimad Bhagavatam. And the illustration shows the context. The context is the subcreation is about to begin. Subcreation means Lord Vishnu has done what Vishnu does cyclically: creation, annihilation, withdrawing of the whole cosmic manifestation, resting for some time, again creation. So Vishnu did the sarga, and now comes what Brahma does, the subcreation. The picture is of the sequence of events. Each universe has within it an expansion of Mahavishnu in the form of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. There's a series of things without going through all of those things, but at some point in time, because it is an event within time, from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, a lotus appears. Lotus stem, and then on top of the lotus stem, a lotus flower, and on top of the lotus flower, Lord Brahma appears. And Lord Brahma has creative impetus, creative force. He has a natural inclination to want to create, but when Brahma appears in all directions, there's darkness. That's why the background is black. There's nothing. There's no light of the sun, there's no light of the moon, there's no light. There's nothing. Darkness in all directions. And he has this impetus to create. So what do you do in that circumstance? He's, at the same time, he's very, very intelligent. And in addition to wanting to create, he wants to know where he came from, who he is, who am I? Intelligent people ask questions like that. And he hears some splashing sound, because down below there's the Garbhodak ocean. So that's what the painting is showing. There's the splash of the Garbhodak ocean. So he does some quick math, and if I follow the stem down and down and down, I'll find where I came from. It's intuitive, or it's logic. And so following that logic, he climbs down the stem and climbs down the stem and climbs, and he finds no end to the stem. So that didn't work. And then he hears two sounds, ta, pa, 3 times. He understands what that means. It means he used to perform tapasya. So he climbs back up the stem, and he begins a form of tapasya. Now in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it doesn't describe what tapasya, it just says tapasya for a long time. In darkness. In the Sri Brahma Samhita, it describes what that tapasya was. He receives a mantra. And he doesn't know exactly from where he received the mantra, but Sri Brahma Samhita describes that mantra sound was from Saraswati. And it's not the Saraswati who becomes his wife, the goddess of learning, Saraswati. The source from whom he hears this mantra is the prototype, using Bhaktisiddhanta's language, the internal potency Saraswati, the eternal and internal potency of the Supreme Lord, bearing the name Saraswati. From her, he receives mantra. And so his tapa consists of chanting mantra in complete darkness for celestial years, years and years and years and years. And it doesn't say if he got hungry, because there's nothing to eat. He just was chanting his mantra. And after some time, a second mantra. He's feeling this impetus, growing impetus to create a universe, but in complete darkness. Then, as the painting shows, he hears the sound of Krishna's flute. The sound of Krishna's flute enters his ears, and then from his mouth comes a second mantra, Kama Gayatri mantra. And these two mantras he meditates on for a long, long time. And then after that long, long time, something happens. In the midst of the darkness, the source of Lord Brahma manifests before him in the form of Lord Vishnu. And the description is pretty fantastic. I mean, if a movie maker could do a great thing with making a movie of what he saw. He saw the Supreme Lord Vishnu surrounded on all sides. It doesn't mention the names in the verse. It mentions the number, the 16, the 25, and this and that. The primordial potencies from which the material potencies emanate. What does that mean? As above, so below. Here is below. And here we can experience earth, water, fire, air, ether. That's 5. And there's the primordial feature of those which we experience in this realm. And he experienced those. He saw them personified. And then mind, intelligence, and false ego, meeting mind personified. And intelligence personified, and ego personified. All of that which is here was manifest before him along with Vishnu and all of his potencies. And his potencies are without limit, but there are some numbers that are mentioned, personified potencies. Lord Vishnu stands, comes before Lord Brahma, and extends his hand and shakes his hand. Because at least the particular Brahma that's being described in Srimad Bhagavatam has the relationship of Sakya, or friendship. Not all Brahmas have that Sakya rasa, but the one that's described in this Srimad Bhagavatam is Sakya rasa. And Brahma is very astonished. And he gets prepared, as what naturally happens when you meet a very elevated person. He asks him a number of questions. We're going to see at the very end the specific questions. It has everything. His questions have everything to do with his service. He didn't say, can you open an engineering school so I can learn how to build the universe? He just asked principles. We'll see the questions at the end. And then the personality of Godhead responds. That's what, so verses 26, 27, 28, 29 of Canto 2, Chapter 9, that's the questions that Brahma asks. And then coming up, this is text 31. And I'm going to show it. 31 is on the screen right now. We'll read the verse and the purport. And there's a connection between this verse and Shikshastaka. No, the few days before this Japa retreat began, I was in the suburbs, and in 3 classes, we discussed Shikshastaka verse number 1. And in Shikshastaka verse number 1, there's an overlap of what's in Shikshastaka verse number 1 with this verse. So the connection with the holy name, because the means to achieve what he achieved was through chanting of the holy name. So it's not so likely that at the end of our chanting for so many hundreds of celestial years, we're going to build the universe, or we're going to do something. Each of us is endowed with some capacity to do something. And the spiritualization of that something that we're endowed with the ability to do comes from our spiritual practice, or sadhana. So our sadhana is chanting, his sadhana is chanting. And now the personality of Godhead is going to speak to him. The Sanskrit, you can chant responsibly, just like a Bhagavatam class. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Jnanam Paramagoyam Me Yad Vijnana Samanvitam Sarahasyam Tadangam Cha Grahana Gaditam Maya Grahana Gaditam Maya. Translation: the personality of Godhead said, knowledge about me as described in the scriptures. Now, there's no scriptures yet, but scriptures are eternal. The Vedas are eternal. So although they're not manifest, nothing's manifest except Brahma and the lotus and Vishnu, but the Vedas are eternal. Knowledge about me as described in the scriptures is very confidential, and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. The necessary paraphernalia for that process is being explained by me. You may take it up carefully. Lord Vishnu knows what Brahma's service is. Lord Vishnu knows that Brahma knows what his service is, but he doesn't know how to do his service. So he's now going to, take him to college and give him realized knowledge about how to do his service. Here's the purport. Lord Brahma is the topmost devotee of the Lord within the universe, and therefore the personality of God had replied to his 4 principal inquiries in 4 important statements, which are known as the original Bhagavatam in 4 verses. So in case you didn't know, many of you know, there's these 4 verses that follow shortly, starting with verse 33. They're called Chatur Shloki, the 4 essential verses of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. See it the other way. The entire Srimad Bhagavatam is an expansion of those 4 verses. If you want to understand the rest of the Bhagavatam, you must understand the rest of the Bhagavatam in alignment with, in conjunction with those 4 verses. If there's some meaning that you think might be the case from the rest of the Bhagavatam that's not in line with those 4 verses, then you have the wrong understanding. You can set it aside. Very important verses, very important questions, very important conversation. Here's a quick summary. 1. What are the forms of the Lord both in matter and in transcendence? 2. How are the different energies of the Lord working? 3. How does the Lord play with his different energies? 4. How may Brahma be instructed to discharge the duty entrusted to him? Now, it's Brahma asking the questions, and the same thing can apply to any one of us. So we have some, whatever it is, duty to perform. The prelude to the answers is this verse under discussion, wherein the Lord informs Brahma that knowledge of him, the supreme absolute truth, as it is stated in the revealed scriptures, is very subtle and cannot be understood unless one is self-realized by the grace of the Lord. The Lord says that Brahma may take the answers as he explains them. This means that transcendental knowledge about the absolute supreme being can be known if it is made known by the Lord himself. By the mental speculation of the greatest mundane thinkers, the absolute truth cannot be understood. The mental speculators can reach up to the standard of impersonal Brahman realization, but factually, complete knowledge of transcendence is beyond the knowledge of impersonal Brahman. This is called the supreme confidential wisdom. Out of many liberated souls, someone may be qualified to know the personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also said by the Lord himself that out of many hundreds of thousands of people, one may try for perfection in human life, and out of many liberated souls, one may know him as he is. Therefore, the knowledge of the personality of Godhead may be attained by devotional service only. So here's the key word, and as you can see it right in the verse, in the third line, sa-rahasyam. We'll spend some time with that phrase. Sa-rahasyam means devotional service. That's the mystery, by the way. Lord Krishna instructed Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita because he found Arjuna to be a devotee and friend. Without such qualifications, one cannot enter into the mystery of the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, one cannot understand the personality of Godhead unless one becomes a devotee and discharges devotional service. This mystery is italicized, love of Godhead. This mystery is love of Godhead. Therein lies the main qualification for knowing the mystery of the personality of Godhead, and to attain the stage of transcendental love of Godhead, regular principles of devotional service must be followed. That's Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. The vidhis of the regulations of sadhana bhakti must be followed. The regular principles are called vidhi bhakti, or the devotional service of the Lord, and can be practiced by a neophyte with his present senses. Such regulative principles are mainly based on hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord, and such hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord can be made possible in the association of devotees only. Sadhu Sangha. Lord Chaitanya therefore recommended 5 main principles for attaining perfection. Perfection. That was our topic yesterday evening. The first is association to devotees, hearing. Second, chanting the glories of the Lord. Third, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from the pure devotees. Fourth, residing in a holy place connected with the Lord. Fifth, worshipping the deity of the Lord with devotion. Such rules and regulations are parts of devotional service. So, as requested by Lord Brahma, the Personality Godhead will explain all about the 4 questions put forward by Brahma and others which are also parts and parcels of the same questions. Now, confidential knowledge is the mystery, and the key to unlocking the mystery is devotional service. Here's a short excerpt from the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the person you see pictured on the right. That's a line drawing of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And he's taking this Sa Rahasyam directly to the platform of Prema, or love of Godhead. Prema is well known as Rahasyam, or very confidential. So the verse Vishnu is explaining, I'll explain what is intimate, Rahasyam, Prema Bhakti. And he does. Realize Prema Bhakti, which is accomplished by that knowledge of my form. So it's Sa Rahasyam. He's just taking the Sanskrit and expanding how we're to understand it. Sa Rahasyam. So in one sense, it's devotional service. That's Sa Rahasyam. But the other is that devotional service in its mature stage is Prema, and therefore Rahasyam. Rahasyam enables, when it's elevated, enables one to have knowledge of Krishna's form. So how does this connect with Shikshastaka? Now some of you have been around for a while, so you know what Shikshastaka is. Shikshastaka, Ashta means 8, so there are 8 verses that are instruction verses in the matter of chanting. Shiksha means instruction, Shikshastaka. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came for a number of reasons. One principal reason was to deliver the Yuga Dharma, or the means for perfection for this age of Kali. And the Yuga Dharma he taught, because that's what the scriptures teach, it's the chanting of the holy name, which is what we're doing this weekend here in Houston. Specifically Japa, or any of the other forms of Kirtan, Sankirtan, because that first verse of Shikshastaka is Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. That means Sankirtanam means congregational chanting. Usually that's done with musical instruments, etc. Doesn't have to be, you can just use your hands or your voice and sing and chant and hear. So when one of the limbs, one of the 8 principles, we discussed it as excellences, is this Anandam Buddhivardhanam. That's in the stage of Bhava Bhakti, because chanting of the holy name can take one from beginning, intermediate, very advanced in perfection, just from chanting. Perfection can be achieved, of course, along with hearing of Harikatha, or the teachings of transcendence, just the sound of the holy name combined with Harikatha. So a mature stage is Anandam Buddhivardhanam. And Ambudi means an ocean, but most oceans aren't made of Ananda, they're made of salt water. So this is Ananda Ambudi, or an ocean of Ananda. One may become acquainted with the ocean of Ananda just through chanting, and that's very confidential. Sa rahasyam, just through chanting. And one of the nomenclatures of Srimati Radharani is Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. She is, or she's made of, her form is Chinmaya Rasa. That's very blissful. Chinmaya means all spiritual. So she, Radharani, is Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. One can be acquainted, just as we heard the first evening, Friday evening, one of the meanings of Hare in the Hare Krishna mantras to address Radharani. One of Radharani's names is Hara, just repeating what we heard Friday evening. Hara is the vocative of, Hare is the vocative of Hara. Hara means she steals the mind of Hari. I was at someone's home and one of your young boy was named Hari. The girl's name was Gauri, and his younger boy's name was Hari. I asked him, do you know the meaning of your name? And I don't know the meaning of your name. Hari means one who takes away. But he takes away things that are auspicious, and in its place of those things that are inauspicious, he gives things that are auspicious, the way Prabhupada described. Hari, you try to hold on to impure things and he'll snatch it from you. But don't worry, with those 1,000 arms he's snatching, with his 1,000 arms he'll give you auspicious. That's Hari. He takes away inauspicious and he gives auspicious. And Hari is attracted by Radharani, or she steals the mind of Hari. So she's Hara, steals the mind of Hari, and the vocative is Hare. So in our chanting, we're addressing Radharani, Hare. And she is Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, so the more qualitatively, the more as we chant, meditating on the meaning of the mantra and meditating on the value of associating with Radharani in our appeal for Krishna's service, we become acquainted with this Ambudi of Ananda. We become acquainted with Radharani. And in that Ananda feature of chanting, this is a little explanation. Ananda produces bhava. So in Shikshastaka verse number 1, as I mentioned, Lord Chaitanya takes the person hearing his verse from the very, very, very beginning to the intermediate, to the advanced, and to perfection. So this Anandam Bodhivardhanam, Ananda produces bhava. It's the stage where it's just before the prema stage. Just from chanting, when it's done properly, because that's what we've been discussing. Chanting with quality, chanting with respect, chanting with experiences, emotional experiences, where we actually become in contact, consciously in contact with Radha, Krishna, and the personality of Godhead himself directly in his counterpart. So bhava, or ecstasy, may arise. Nice poetic way of describing. This stage of chanting the holy name is one in which the waves of spiritual emotion splash within the devotee's melted heart. If you remember from Friday evening, poetic language is necessary to describe spiritual experiences. So Rupa Goswami uses the poetic language of the holy name entering the courtyard of one's heart and dances. When that happens, the mind becomes stunned, the senses become inert. Your material activities are suspended because it's so charming and so enchanting and so fulfilling. There's nothing else. Na sochati, na kangsati. No more hankering, no lamenting, no more distraction. So here, instead of the holy name dancing within the courtyard of the heart, this is where the holy name is one with the waves of spiritual emotion which splash within the devotee's melted heart. In this stage, the ecstasies of emotion have not yet fully matured to the prema stage. It's a stage. May you all get to that stage one day, just like that verse from Padyavali Rupa Goswami was quoting. May that stage come for all of you. The person offering the prayer was saying, spiritual development no longer depends upon material conditions. We'll hear some more about this in the later afternoon class. Since contaminations and material conditioning have been uprooted, bhava proceeds unimpeded, abundantly manifesting flowers of the bhakti creeper and soon transformed into prema, which is the fruit. Flowers turned into fruits. So it's a stage of bhakti that's very similar to the Bhagavatam verse that we just read, where Lord Vishnu is saying to Lord Brahma, I'm going to describe this process with all of its paraphernalia so that A and B, you can do your service and you can also be fully conscious of me in ecstasy of love of God, which is pretty incredible. Sometimes the thought is there that I need to wind down my material activities so that I can spend more time in my spiritual activities. And then there's another thought that says the material activities can become fully spiritualized. And so it's not exactly winding down the material activities, it's winding up the spiritual activities. Somebody was sharing with me, I have a busy life and it's not easy for me to qualitatively complete 16 rounds because it takes X amount of time. And then this common question that people ask that I have a common answer to: how do I balance between material and spiritual? It's asked in different ways. And this verse 2:9:31 doesn't speak about balancing at all. It speaks of spiritualizing. Balancing means, I call it the two-pocket program. So much for me, so much for Krishna. So much for me, so much for Krishna. Me, Krishna, Krishna. How do I balance? I say, one pocket program, please. And those things that you do, in Brahma's case, it's build the universe. In our case, it's whatever it is. It's something else. We all have propensities, psychophysical natures. We have a body, we have a mind, we have tendencies. How do you engage those tendencies in such a way it's the one pocket program. That's the challenge. It's not balance, it's everything for Krishna. Yat karoshi yadasnasi yat jahosi dadasi yat tapasyasi konteya tat karashva madarpanam. That's the challenge. And that's just karma yoga. What to speak of bhakti yoga. So that you make choices between what you do and what you don't do, what's going to be pleasing to Krishna. You know for sure that which is going to give you strength towards the direction in your life, day after day, month after month, year after year, is sadhana. That's this practice to reach sadhya, the goal. So do your devotional service practices very nicely. That's what we're doing. We're spending time together to enhance our devotional practice, specifically of chanting. And then the other 4 processes there also are available. In case you haven't heard, down here in Texas, there was a request made of the North American Deity Worship Ministry. Can you conduct a seminar for persons that in their home or in temples or both do some deity worship? Probably most, if not all of you here, do some deity worship in home. So how to? So there's going to be a deity worship seminar. The international deity worship minister, the North American deity worship minister, and some accomplished pujaris from different places are combining together, I forget what the date is, sometime in the early part of next year, to have a seminar, several-day seminar on deity worship. That's the how-to seminar. And how to know what the vidhis are and how to execute the vidhis given our busy lives in home worship and temple worship, etc. So this is one of the 5 limbs. This is the chanting of the holy name seminar, or practical. That's tomorrow. This is the theoretical, tomorrow is the practical. How to. And if done nicely, if the principles that are recommended to chant in a quality way, that was our first class, if to the degree that we have heard and can understand and can apply, we're on our way to improving the quality of our life. Because when the quality of your life is spiritualized, then the quality of your activities in the world will also be spiritualized. You don't have to give them up. In course of time, some things may just fall away. That's okay. But the things that you do, that's duty, you continue doing with greater and greater and greater spiritual strength arising from the primary activity. Sa rahasyam, devotional service, where the chanting of the holy name is at the very forefront of everything in the sadhana bhakti process for this age. How was lunch? I was expecting having class right after lunch. That was what I was expecting, and I'm a little surprised. Didn't see much of that at all. I hope the prasadam was good. So we have a little bit of time, 45 minutes time. We can take less than that, that's fine also. See if there's some discussion. All this is meant to help us, in one sense, prepare for our 64-round day. But beyond that is to move to another level of the quality of our chanting. Mindful chanting. Mind absorbed in Krishna, in His holy name. Any discussion? Yes, and all the way in the back. The lunch symptom is there, though.
Thank you, Maharaj. I have this silly question.
A silly one?
Silly question.
Okay.
We've always seen that Brahma is sitting on the lotus flower.
Yeah.
And the stem is connected to the navel of Krishna. So I have this question: why this visual or this connection of stem is there with his navel? Is there any explanation done? Because, like, in my mind, I think like how mother's umbilical cord is attached to a child.
Like that.
Like that.
It's different,
Okay.
obviously, because Brahma isn't the mother. I mean, Vishnu isn't the mother.
Yeah.
Vishnu's Vishnu.
Yeah.
But it's similar.
Yeah. Because I feel like he doesn't need a medium or channel to transfer any
He
information.
doesn't need anything.
Yes.
He just like send him off into space. He just needed a lotus flower. However, as you read further, and from your questions, I can tell you're going to read further. Anyway, you know what's in that stem? Here's what's in that stem. The 14 planetary systems are within that stem. But they're not existing yet because he hasn't built them yet. It's a hollow stem, just like the stem of a something. But it's going to get filled up through the process of creation. Then comes another good question. What happens when cosmic annihilation happens? What happens to that lotus flower? I don't know. I mean, I can guess, but I don't know. Because I've never had anybody ask that question. I just came up with it. I'm used to people asking these pull it out of the air kind of questions. So I don't know. But it's not symbolic like the umbilical cord of a mother, da-da-da-da-da-da. It's literal, lotus stem and lotus flower on top of the stem from the navel. No, umbilical cords don't come from navels, but this one does. Similar.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So I was, I understand like Srimad Bhagavatam explains in detail Lord Brahma's experience that he had after he was born out of Lord Vishnu. So what I'm trying to understand is how or why is this important in our journey for Krishna consciousness?
Okay.
In the sense that what Lord Brahma experienced was unique for him, but so how is this relevant to us?
Very good question, very practical question. One very obvious one, how is it practical? We're also born in ignorance, not knowing who we are. We're not as intelligent as Lord Brahma, so the process is made a little easier for us. We're not born in darkness with nothing existing but darkness. But he undergoes the process of consciousness elevation through sound. That's the similarity. So we're also born in ignorance, not knowing, and we can be inquisitive to want to know. Many people don't become, they just become busy trying to enjoy what's there. And that's their life, trying to enjoy. And the toys they get have to do with their guna and karma, and that's all they know, period. So how it applies to us, practical question, is we should be inquisitive to know. ABC, who am I, where have I come from, what's my mission in life, and how am I to perform it? What's the mission in life? What's the purpose of life? The next class we're going to speak about purpose. But what's the purpose? So for those who are inquisitive, you're one, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You may not be asking it the same way, but it's Brahma's asking, and he's getting answers through sound. So we have Vedic sound. The verse says, these truths that I'm going to speak, they're within the Vedas, eternal truths. So we're not acquainted with the Vedas, but we can become by sound. And then the mantra for purification, so that our spirit of devotional service can awaken, so that we can understand those messages. That's how it relates. One to one. I mean, circumstance is different, but one to one, in principle, one to one correlation. Someone over here had their hand up.
Krishna Maharaj, I had a doubt from the morning class. So Maharaj, you were saying that to develop respect for chanting, we need sadhu sangha. So, but Maharaj, even for sadhu sangha, we need that respect, right?
We need what?
Respect for sadhu sangha.
Well, where does the respect for sadhu sangha come? We touched on this. I'll touch on it again. Respect for sadhu sangha, or this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's way of saying bhakti sukriti. Sukriti, So supposing somebody sees a devotee, and the devotee behaves with them in such a way, they start to think, this person's nice. They don't have to have close association, they just think well of a devotee because the devotee's behavior and speech and mannerisms and the way they carry themselves and their nature is attractive, and they have a good feeling towards the devotee. Unknowingly, they're not thinking, I'm going to get some bhakti points. But so bhakti, this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Through bhakti sukriti, one gets the initial shraddha, adau shraddha. And when Krishna sees that preliminary faith, Krishna may then send sadhu. And then the combination, then it grows. So it starts with faith, and the faith, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it's just like someone said in the morning class the other morning. There's a higher reality. Somewhere deep inside I know. And where did that somewhere deep inside come from, I cannot say. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says it's bhakti sukriti. This life or previous life, unknowingly. Agyata sukriti is another phrase, unknowing, but specifically not just piety, but bhakti. Somebody receives prasadam. Somebody hears the holy name. They just pass by and hear the Harinam party. They're not like, let's go out to the park so we can get some bhakti. And little by little by little, that little deposit in their bhakti bank account becomes a little faith. And then it grows. Does that answer your question? No.
And Maharaj, with all the Sukriti and a part of Bhakti, we get Sadhu Sangha, right? But after getting Sadhu Sangha...
After what? Getting sadhu sangha?
Yeah, to maintain the respect.
Oh. Now how do you maintain it once it starts?
Yeah.
More of the same. Now this is Texas. I've noticed it's a little hot down here. Come visit us in Chicago in December. Supposing it's December in Chicago and you want to get warm, you stand near a heater. Supposing at night the heater shuts off, turn the heater on, stand near the heater. So it takes sadhu sangha throughout, up to the stage and including in the stage of perfection. I mentioned this, I don't mind repeating it, I like it. In Sanatana Shiksha section of Chaitanya Charitamrita, for months Lord Chaitanya gave instructions to Sanatana Goswami. And one of the things he does, he describes the pyramid, I call it the pyramid, like the totality of living entities. It's a lot of living entities. And then there's different species, and then some come to the human form of life, and then some in the human form of life become civilized. And then he gets to the point where he's describing where amongst those who with two legs, they become human, and they accept varnashram. Then those that accept varnashram, because they've had exposure to the Vedas, some may have association with a devotee. And then sadhu sangha comes into the picture. Because persons may become knowledgeable in the Vedas without association of bhakti. They just are attracted to the Vedas. So, then he takes verses and verses and verses and says how bhakti began through sadhu sangha. Then he takes Sanatana Goswami through stages of bhakti development. Stages and stages, and it describes the topmost stage. And says it again, even in the topmost stage, so this is answering your question. Even in the topmost stage, sadhu sangha is imperative. It's not optional. So how do you stay with the proper respect? Sadhu sangha. And what do sadhus do? They discuss Harikatha. They discuss the scripture, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc., etc. That's how you stay in the fire. Supposing you go away from the fire, then you can become cold. Stay in the fire, you stay warm. Sadhu sangha. And then the respect will grow. Not only stay, but it'll grow. Let me ask you, how long you been chanting? How many years?
8 years.
18.
8.
Would you like to be chanting the same in 28 years? You like to have your chanting grow with respect and, quality and so forth.
Yes, ma'am.
How to do that? Sadhu sangha. Now, it's not a machine, it's not mechanical. Just hang out with sadhus and all of a sudden you're going to become a better chanter. I mean, it may happen, but more likely it's because through that sadhu sangha, your intensity of having enthusiasm for chanting and the process of bhakti and so forth and so on will grow. And doing with sadhus what sadhus do. It's just not, so that's sadhu sangha. Supposing somebody deviates, that happens, by circumstance or whatever. Sometimes it's by choice, sometimes it's by circumstance. They just get sent to Okefenokee Swamp and that's where their job is. And they don't have devotee association. They have to figure out a way to get devotee association. You with me? Okay. So then your responsibility is to be a sadhu, so that when you associate with others, you're sadhu sangha for them. How do you like that challenge? You're smiling. Good. Anyone else? Yes, up front.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, you touched upon the people ask you balancing between material life and spiritual life.
Yeah.
And then you said that there should not be two pockets, single pocket.
One pocket program,
single
please.
pocket.
Yeah.
So, in actual life, we want to fit. We can maintain our consciousness, Krishna consciousness all the time, but we don't want in the material life because we want to fit there as well. If we keep our consciousness as like a spiritual conscious all the time, and we go in material world, we will not fit there.
Oh, yes, you will. No. There may very well be different points of view besides yours. Now, what happens? You just continue being in the workplace, in the marketplace, wherever you are, doing whatever you are, and be Krishna devotee. Look at Bhaktivinoda Thakur, for example. He was in the world up to his eyeballs, worldly to the max, 10 kids, high court judge, dealing with dacoits, dealing with all kinds of people. He didn't have two sets of clothes. Outside and inside were the same. When he sat on the bench in the high court, he wore the high court bench clothes. But his outside was his inside and vice versa. Now, if it can be done in a high court during the British rule, and etc., given the tension that existed at his time, is it not possible? Now, supposing you take the example, you or somebody in the room is very serious with their Krishna consciousness and they go into the workplace. And then it comes time for lunch. And they say, come on, have lunch with us. Now what are you going to do? You smile. I brought my own. They say, well, you're not fun. I'll show you what fun is. Here, I'll share this with you. Now, and if you like it, I'll bring more tomorrow. I mean, your demeanor is part of your method of communication, but you don't have to be a chameleon. Just blend with the materialists. You can stand out from the materialists. And you don't have to. You can, but you don't have to blend. Accommodate. We don't compromise. In principle, we don't compromise. You make it easier for persons who are uncomfortable being with a spiritualist to be more comfortable, but you're a spiritualist nonetheless. Will there be discomfort? Not for you, for them. But you can spiritualize them, and it may divide. It may make partyism. You're not part of our party, you're part of that party. You're weird, or you label, or anyway, that's okay. We're interested in giving association, not taking material association. That's what we do. We spiritualize the workplace, or wherever you are. Now, it's not easy. And there's all kinds of scenarios. I don't hear all of them, but I hear many of them. What about family in some other part of the world? And they're definitely not into Krishna bhakti. And it creates some tension in the family system, what to do. You don't be a chameleon, be who you are. You don't have to be in your face, confrontational type, but be who you are. And be of good character and good quality and good speech and be consistent. And people, a little light will go on and say, wow, what's going on with you? I like what I see. Anyway, that's the compellingness, is the purity is the force. It can change the world. Not, only this circle or that circle. It can change the world. That's our faith. We water the root of the tree, and the tree becomes nourished. That's what we do. It's not easy. You want something easy, we'll find something easy for you. But, we be true to our pure souls who we're following in the footsteps of. That's what we do. Yad yaracharati shrestas. That's what we do. Anyone else? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have two questions. One is on Radharani. So just wanted to understand this perspective. See, one way we say that when you please Krishna, it's like watering the roots.
Yeah.
So everything is fulfilled.
Yeah.
And now in the mantra you say, Radharani, give me blessing to serve Krishna. She's a potency in the end, but she's a pleasure potency, but she's a potency of a Supreme Lord.
That's right.
So why don't we directly go to the Supreme Lord? Why ask the
Why not?
potency?
Why not? Why separate Radha from Krishna?
That's my question is.
Well, that's my answer. We don't separate her. She's very soft and very merciful, and she's very eager and ready. So we go to her eagerness and readiness with folded palms and say, please engage me in Krishna's service. You want to bypass her? Not me. So I'm not saying you want to. Someone may want to. We don't. We honor her as much as we honor Krishna. And that's our life. Radha Krishna. I don't see a dilemma. I do not see a dilemma, or contradiction or conflict of lifestyle or consciousness. We approach Krishna through Radha, through the representatives of Krishna or representatives of Radha. We approach...
Wait, the contradiction, no, not the contradiction, but again, just a different thought came in because there is this line of thought that you water the root, that's Krishna. So again, so if Krishna is fulfilled, everything is fulfilled, right? So, I mean, why not just Krishna? Like,
Why not?
Yeah, why not just worshipping Krishna? Why?
We
so-
do worship Krishna, but not alone. Vatsal wants to add something.
Well, I just want a matter of thought. That, probably the example is always there. You can't just go and see the president. You have to have some qualification. You have to qualify yourself. So Radharani or devotees, the advanced devotee, can help you qualify in order to be able to approach Krishna. Is that a possibility?
Yes, it's a nice answer. But he's got a yeah, but, I can tell. What's your yeah but?
I didn't...
You're okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know because Prabhupada says these things, so I believe in it. It's
You're
just that-
speaking with your hands, and in one of your hands is the microphone.
Yeah, all right.
So you can move your left hand, but
Yeah.
keep the microphone hand steady.
All right. So what I was, so I believe because that's what these teachings are coming from Prabhupada. It's just that the conviction is not coming within, and because I do not understand.
you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's me. That's me. And the conviction is because I do not understand the Radha Tattva. So that's my, like, what is this Tattva? Why do not we go directly to the person, but something which is part of that person? It's like, I got a hand, or I got an energy, and somebody approaching me through that energy. So it's just me. I mean, of course, I pray that to devotees, to Krishna, that it...
Here's a simple answer.
Yeah.
You want Krishna to smile? You know what will make him smile? Go to Radharani. And if Radharani makes the recommendation, you've got your Krishna smiling. It's the same answer that Vatsal gave. It's your adhikar to approach Krishna. Is Radharani's recommendation. You don't need it. Not the heck with Radha, but Krishna's all merciful. He's all merciful. So part of that mercy is his merciful manifestation of Radharani. Krishna will smile. For sure. What's your second question?
The second question was on, we today, in fact today, yesterday we discussed that the ideal thing would be chanting 24 hours. Like
Kirtaniya Sada. Kirtaniya Sada.
Sadahari.
Sada. Always.
Kirtaniya Sadahari. So if the Kirtaniya Sadahari, so I wanted to understand this in respect of, let's say if I'm doing a devotional service, let's say if I'm washing pots, so here in the temple, so I mean, what's a practical way of Kirtaniya Sadhari? Like,
Why
because if
washing
I wash pots, I cannot, like, how does my brain work during the time?
Oh, come on. Practice. Try it. Wash pots and chant Hare Krishna. But what?
It's like,
So the mouth is doing one thing, and the hand is doing something else.
but then I'm not hearing it because,
Oh, why?
I mean, this is something I was like, is it, like, what's a practical thing? When people say that, oh, they are chanting, actually by chanting they're really speaking out the mantra
Yeah.
and doing some other thing.
Well,
Because their
it's-
senses are involved in other
It's
things.
certainly possible. Now, if you want to say to me, if you're trying to say to me, the quality when I'm not washing pots, the quality that I use when I'm just in the early morning hours chanting Japa and nothing else, the quality is not the same. I would ask you, really? Tell me about the quality when you're not doing something else, early morning hours every day. Is your mind absorbed? Really?
Not me. I mean,
Okay, we're speaking about you.
yeah, it's me.
So that the principle is by practice, your Brahma's duty was building a universe. Your duty may be washing pots. Somebody else's is whatever their duty is, taking care of their children. Someone else's duty is something else. If you're doing that something else for Krishna and you're chanting Krishna's name, it just spiritualizes the something else that you're doing. And it will help you when you're not doing something else and just in the early morning hours of the day just exclusively chanting and trying to stay completely focused on just chanting, you'll do better at just chanting in those early hours of the morning by practicing chanting at other times. And I would say to you a further thing, associate with those that have that lifestyle. Right in front of you is one for years and years and years and years and years. He loves kirtan. Now I can imagine, I don't know, but I can imagine in his dreams he's chanting, he's having kirtan. I can imagine, because it's his life. So associate with such persons, and it becomes very natural. Initially, it may be a little on the practice side, mechanical side. It's not the same, but it's a little bit like riding a bicycle. That's motor skills. But when you first started riding a motorcycle, was it awkward? A little awkward. But now you get on a bicycle and you don't even think about it. So when it becomes that, it's like breathing. It becomes part of your life. You don't have to think about breathing. It's just part of life. And that's the idea of making the chanting of the holy name intrinsic to your life, inseparable. Practice. Even when you're doing other things? Yeah, even when you're doing other things. Washing pots? Sure.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So Maharaj, in this conversation, one statement bewildered me and I wanted to clarify. So when you said that we worship, we also worship Radharani, but don't we worship Radharani more than Krishna because she is more merciful and also she is like Madan Mohan Mohini, so she can even control Krishna. That's one of her qualities. So don't we worship Radharani more than Krishna?
There are schools of Vaishnavas that are in your camp. And there are schools of Vaishnavas that are in the Radha Krishna camp. And you ask people from that school and they'll say, very good. And you go to the other school, they say, you can't have Radha without Krishna. There's no such thing. So it's in one sense it's a bhav, it's a mood of approaching transcendence, and one can have a partiality this way, that way. From the readings, from the writings, reading the writings of our acharyas, I don't hear what you just said. They have, those that have mega affinity for Radharani. It's not this exclusive Radharani first, Krishna second. I invite you to read, for example, I invite you to read the writings of Raghunath Das Goswami, who's such a lover of Radharani. And you don't find that. I mean, he's unashamed, he doesn't hide his deep, deep, deep. And it has everything to do with his spiritual identity. He's identifying with his spiritual identity. Rati Manjari. And, Rati Manjari is very intimate associate of Radharani. So he sees himself as a very intimate associate of Radharani. He's seeing and experiencing everything in terms of his spiritual identity. But it's not to the exclusion of Radharani first, Krishna second. There are persons, it is my impression, there are persons that hold that view. Krishna second, Radha first. Because she's more merciful. I think we should end. Is that okay? Srila Prabhupada ki. Now there's something in the schedule with Kirtan, and who's going to make the announcement for the schedule?
Thank you, Maharaj. Wonderful class on the mystery disclosed. Can you give a loud applause? So the next part of the program is Keval Ashtakam by His Grace Rati Prabhu. So that's for half an hour, so 40 minutes, and then we continue with the class with Maharaj, intention, taking shelter of the holy name.
Where's Rati? Do you have the PowerPoints for everyone to see? Do you have that? They have it. Okay.
They're going to do it from the KK Sound's website.
Okay, okay, okay.
ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासवि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मधुरं मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम्। मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम्। मधुरं मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम्
मधुरं मधुरेभ्यो मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम्
मधुरं मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम्
मधुरं मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि
पवनं पवनेभ्योऽपि हरिनामैव केवला पवनं पवनेभ्योऽपि पवनं पवनेभ्योऽपि हरिनामैव केवला
भवनं पवनेभ्योऽपि हरिनामेव
अब्रह्मस्तम्भपर्यन्ताम् सर्वं मायामयं जगत्
ब्रह्मस्तम्भपर्यन्तम् सर्वं मायामयं जगत्
सत्यं सत्यं पुनः सत्यं हरिनामैव केवला
सत्यं सत्यं पुनः सत्यं हरिनामेव केवलम्
सद्गुरु सपिता चापि समता बन्धवोऽपि
सद्गुरु सपिता चापि समता बन्धवोऽपि सः
शिक्षये च सदा स्मर्तुम् हरिनामैव केवला
शिक्षयेश्चित् सदा स्मर्तुम् हरिनाम एव केवलम्
विश्वासेन हि विश्वासा ततरूढो भविष्यति
विश्वासे न हि विश्वासः ततरूढो भविष्यति
कीर्तनीयामतो बाल्यात् हरिनामैव केवला
कीर्तनीयमतो मया हरिनाम एव केवलम्
हरि सदा वसे तत्र यत्र भागवता जना
हरि सदा वसे तत्र यत्र भागवता जना
गायन्ते भक्तिभावेन हरिनामैव केवला
गायन्ति भक्तिभावेन हरिनाम एव केवलम्
अहो दुःखं महादुःखम् दुःखदुःखतरं यथा
दुःखं महादुःखं दुःखदुःखतरं यतः
काचातं विस्मितं रत्ना हरिनामैव केवलम्
काचातं विस्मितं रत्ना हरिनामेव केवलम्
धियतां धियतां कर्णो नियतां नियतां वचा
नियतं नियतं कर्णो नियतं नियतं वचः
गीयतां गीयतां नित्यां हरिनामैव केवलम्
नियतं नित्यां हरिनामेव केवलम्
विनिकृत्य जगत् सर्वम् राजते सकलोपरि
सर्वं राजते सकलो हरि
चिदानन्दं मयां शुद्धां हरिनामैव केवलम्
चिदानन्दमयं शुद्धा हरिनामेव केवलम्
मधुरां मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम्
मधुरां मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम्
मधुरं मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम्
मधुरं मधुरेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलेभ्योऽपि मङ्गलम्
पावनां पावनेभ्योऽपि हरिनामैव केवलम्
पावनेभ्योऽपि हरिनामेव केवलम्
पावनां पावनेभ्योऽपि हरिनामैव केवलम्
हरिनाम पावनेभ्योऽपि हरिनामेव केवलम्
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण
हरे
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे
हरे राम
राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,